Hey, what's going on, YouTube? So let's talk about how you can make as much money as you can with dividend investing as fast as you can. Now, let's go ahead and just jump on the computer. We're going to talk about Realty Income. It's a very popular investing stock. A lot of people might have heard about it. You might have heard about it, but let's go ahead and talk about this stock. And if you're somebody who's wanting to get some dividend income today, this maybe can help you out, and hopefully it does. So what we're going to be doing here is looking at the portfolio of Realty Income for just a quick second. We're just going to look at the basics. We're not going in depth. So if you want to do in-depth stuff, make sure you do your additional research on that. Now let's go ahead and break this down a little bit. So we're going to go into the dividend tab. Obviously, we're talking about dividends. And as of this recording, it's going for $67.05 per share. Obviously, this changes on a regular basis, so just keep that in mind. So let's break down some of the important details here. And if my head ever cuts anything off, I do apologize. Hopefully I go into detail with everything, so you don't worry about it. So currently its yield is 4.23%, and they pay out monthly. So this is really cool. That's a very high dividend yield. 4% is like the golden ticket for a lot of dividend investors. Like I said, it pays out on a monthly basis. So let's break some other things down here. So per share that you own, you would make 24 cents, which equals out to $2.83 per month. We've done videos before of like how many shares you need to own and all that stuff, but how about we talk about how much you want to maybe put in to be able to start earning some really good dividends. Now, their payout ratio is 83%. Much higher than the 60% goal that most of us kind of focus on, but they are a REIT, so this kind of actually is fine for the REIT. Now its 5-year growth average is 3.79%, but I believe over the last like 2 years or so it's a little bit lower than that. I think it's closer to like 2% or so, but we're just gonna go based off of these numbers right now. And then its growth, it's been growing its dividend for the last 24 years. So if you're a 24-year-old, this thing has been increasing its dividends for the last 24 years since you've been alive. Obviously, if you're older than that, like myself, 24 years ago, if I bought into this company, it would have been pretty sweet, potentially, to be earning those dividends since then. But let's go ahead and kind of go over this. In case you're not familiar with Realty Income, though, they do pay pretty much on the 15th almost every single month. Obviously, depending on like the weekends or holidays, it's a little bit off or on, but it's almost always on the 15th. So I brought up my dividend calculator right over here. And so we're going to go plug in these numbers. But before we do that, because obviously this content's all free for you guys, but if you're somebody who like wants to get started with investing into dividends, this is the platform I personally love to use. It's called M1 Finance. It's great. This is actually my account right over here. It's great for dividend investors. It's great for long-term investors. They have a lot of great features that can benefit you. So if you're somebody who wants to get started with dividend investing, check out the link in the show notes down below. It does support me out, but it does give you a chance to open up your account. If you put in over $1,000 in the beginning, you actually get a $30 bonus. But even if you can't do that, just open up your account, put $100 in, and really get the ball rolling, because that's how you get started with investing. All right, so back to the calculator. Oops. So I accidentally clicked some other random stuff, so it kind of jumped me around. So we're now back at the calculator. So this is the dividend calculator, and what we're going to do is plug in some information here. And I want to kind of just get an idea of what we can do and have this impact for really, living off of dividends and stuff. So we're going to start with $1,000 in an account. Ideally, if we can do that. If we can't do that, you can plug in numbers and change things up. So right over here, it's going to say annual dividend yield. So we just saw it was 4.23%. 4.23% right there. We're going to go ahead and say this isn't a taxable account. Let's just go ahead and say that. And let's say every year we can put in $6,000. So $500 a month is what you can put in. Expected annual dividend, expected annual dividend increase. So we remember we talked about this. It was 3.79%. So 3.79%. We're going to distribute that monthly. And then the dividend tax rate, let's just leave that at 15% for this example. And then expected share appreciation, we're going to leave it at 3%. Realty income doesn't typically go up that much on a regular basis, so I just don't want to like put it in higher than that. And then we have this thing called DRIP. So this stands for Dividend Reinvestment Program, in case you've never heard of it before. So it takes any things that you earn from dividends and reinvest it back into the companies. So we're going to hit yes on this. We're not going to worry about taxes exempt. And then we're going to do 20 years. So hey, let's go ahead and plug this in and see where it takes us. So we're going to have an ad usually pop up here in a second. It's usually like right when I start talking about stuff. So this is what happens in 20 years. So first off, these are all estimates, by the way. I hope you guys know that, right? These are estimates. Obviously, things can change dramatically. So estimated, your expected to have about $300,000 in the balance at the end of this, 20 years. Your annual dividends would be 28,000, making sure it's not on my head, 28,745 that you would get every year. Obviously, if you divide that by 12, every month you would make $2,395. That's pretty good. One, that's higher than most people's goals of, $1,000 a month that we talk about a lot here on the channel, which, by the way, hit subscribe if you want to keep watching more of like dividend talk and, investing and all that. But $2,400 pretty much is what you would be getting. And again, let's go look at this number right over here. Putting in $1,000 today, do it. Open up that M1 Finance account with the link below. Supports me so I can keep doing free stuff like this for you guys, but it gets you started, and that's more important than anything else. And then you put in $500 a month. Now, if you're like, hey, Dennis, I can't do those numbers, that's fine. Just start now with smaller amounts and then get up to that amount and maybe surpass that amount. Like, let's imagine if you could do, let's say, $10,000 a year, What would that do? What would that do for this account? Look at that, $10,000 a year. Did I say a month earlier? I'm in a year for the deposits, right? So that's $833 a month. Obviously, give or take a little over $200 every month average. Obviously, 2 months out of the year, you'd be paying a little bit more than that into it, but $200 a week. So let's see here. What does that equal out to? Oops. Well, let me clean that up. So 47,599.01, and then divide that by 12. You're getting almost $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. That's pretty cool. And you'd have over $500,000 in your account. So if you jumped it up to $10,000 a year annually, with a $1,000 portfolio getting started, with Realty Income's account right now at 4.23%, annual increases for dividends at 3.79, and you reinvest the dividends, you're getting almost $48,000 a year. That's $4,000 a month. Now you gotta pay taxes and stuff like that on there, but technically, if that's all your source of income, your tax rate is sometimes 0, which is really cool, but up to 15%. But 15% is pretty solid. Well, sorry, I should say up to 20%, but typically most people are going to be in the 15% range. I should definitely clarify that, but that's a lot of money right there. So what I'm encouraging you to do is get started with investing, but you also need to keep learning more about dividends. So click on this video right over here right now so you can actually keep on learning more about your dividend investing journey. My name is Dennis, and I'll see you in that next video.